Okay. Going up on our next question, I'm just going to remind our viewers that we are recording this session. So if we have had several people who have joined us in progress. And so we will be posting this entire recorded session on our YouTube playlist. So if you missed the beginning, you can go back and listen to that at a later date, or if you want to listen to the whole thing and check on an answer. This next question, under a pessimistic scenario, if COVID is not well controlled over the next 6 months, how will continued social distancing requirements impact the IB program, example, classroom teaching, science labs, etc.?
So in the next 48 minutes or so, our school board is reviewing our plans for returning to hybrid learning and getting students back on campus at the secondary level. So at the high school is coming. The meeting tonight, much more about the little guys and gals, the little people at elementary and 6th grade and younger. So in the next couple months, we're going to see a lot of movement. That is our effort to bring our students back to campus in a safe way. What we've been able to do is plan for the question specific to labs. And when we have had students able to come in and work with us. In fact, there's been probably about 20 over the course of the last 2 days that have come in, and we've set up special opportunities for them. But our students that are participating in IB orals, part of the English experience, when students have to speak to a prompt and then go through their making their arguments, etc. That'll happen regardless. We can do that one-on-one, and we're happy to make accommodations. And so we're going to continue to push forward. We're working directly with the International Baccalaureate Organization on what exams are going to look like this spring. We're hopeful, and we continue to choose to be optimistic about our future getting back together. But we don't have a crystal ball, so we'll do what we can.
Okay, we have had several questions asking about the difference between the career-related program and the diploma program. And is there an advantage of one over the other?
Should we have Morgan go first?
Yeah. Okay, this is a big one. So there's several differences, and I'll just refer you back to the YouTube playlist that we posted a few times. Maybe Mr. Duncan can throw that in the chat again for anybody who's joined lately. And there's an overview presentation in that YouTube playlist where Julie and I really break down what the differences are between the diploma program and the career-related program. Just a couple of differences. So the career-related program just started this year. We were authorized last year. So Julie's already mentioned that the diploma program's been here since 1994. Our career-related program has been here since 2020. So that's a huge difference. We're just starting to build the program. The other big difference I would say is that the IB diploma program, it results in a diploma at the end of your 12th grade year, and the IB career-related program results in a certificate. So colleges, as you're asking questions about that, they look at those a little bit differently. The career-related program doesn't require a math, a math standard, certain level when you come in at your 9th grade year. So our diploma program requires that you have completed algebra by the time you're coming into your 9th grade year. We're pretty flexible with that on the career-related program side. You have to take 2 IB classes to fulfill the career-related program requirements. And so when you come in as a freshman, you're likely going to be taking at least 1, probably 2 honors courses in order to be prepared for your junior and senior year in those IB courses. And then the biggest, just overall program difference is the diploma program is really focused on academics and, very college track, I would say. The career-related program is really about kind of picking what your, if you know what your career interest is going to be, picking one of those paths and then weaving academics into your career pathway after high school. And so in that program, we expect that some of our students will go to college, but we also expect that some of our students might go directly into the workforce or into trades or into apprenticeships, and really try to help students figure out what that pathway looks like for them based on what their career interests are. And so you can also see in that presentation that we do, that the pathways that we're expecting to have for you guys by the time you are juniors. Those are, if I can remember all of them, somebody else can jump in if I can't. But we've got computer science currently. We have our digital arts pathway, and that is kind of an umbrella that includes photo, video, and graphic design. So you kind of pick a track under that umbrella. We're hoping to open it up with education, mechatronics, and health sciences, and marketing or like entrepreneurship, so more of a business focus. So if any of those sound interesting to you, I would encourage you to kind of explore what the career-related program is. Julie and I work really closely together on this stuff, so we're like totally open to having conversations with kids about, you know, where they're going and what maybe what program would support them best. So I will toss it to Julie.
Okay. So Morgan did talk about our DP a little bit. The difference being is the DP is not focused on a career-related pathway, but it covers all 6 different subject areas. So students would need to take an English, science, math, history, foreign language, and an art class, along with the core requirements. But also either program, when students decide if they want to do the IB diploma program their junior year or the start of their junior year, students could from either program become what's called a course candidate. And that is any student that wants to take IB classes rather than doing the full package. They can do the IB classes and they become a course candidate. So there's always that option, but that starts junior year.
So perhaps I would add to that, you don't have to decide tonight what you choose. It will be coming down the road. What the purpose of tonight is really just to answer general questions that you have. We want to just ensure you that the 9th and the 10th grade year will be very, very similar for both. If your pathway is the full diploma or not, your path is going to be very similar. We have worked really hard as a faculty to ensure that there is a consistency of experience, and you're expected to do this very similar work in all of your classes. And we're calling these honors classes. Previously, for some of you parents that are veterans out there, you might have heard us use the term pre-B, but we're changing our vocabulary to match that it's honors, and we know it'll be a push for you. And again, when you finish up every semester, every grading period, you'll have an opportunity to kind of evaluate where you are, and we're going to challenge you to think about your plan. And also know that we have built these programs based on our current strengths, right? We have a really strong marketing program. We have a terrific digital communications program. And so our film program is extremely strong. The photography is amazing. We have a brand new lab that we're building. And so we have all these terrific opportunities. And so to be a 9th grader next year is really an exceptional time to be thinking about coming into Columbia River High School and joining us over here. So that is a bit of the differences between the CP and the DP.
Speaking of 9th graders, we have a question: how many students are accepted each year? And if a student is not accepted in 9th grade, can they apply again another year? Mm-hmm. Is there a cohort that goes through the coursework together?
Right. So we typically take around 325 9th graders. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is space availability. We want to make sure we have room for everybody. We also want to make sure that we can serve everybody's needs. So if we have an expanded amount of students applying to the program, wonderful. There may be a wait list that we develop. And if you are, for whatever reason, if something comes up where your application's incomplete or something happens along the way where you're waiting to hear from a different program and you start your 9th grade year in a different program at a different school, decide you want to transfer over, we do allow for that. We will work with families on that. So it's not just the spring of your 8th grade year where you're headed into the fall where you have to make these crucial decisions. We are certainly flexible. And I mentioned that we're also under construction right now. So there's a little bit of parking is premium And we know that will happen when we bring people back to school. So we're going to be in a little bit of a size crunch, but typically it's about 325 students in the 9th grade. And the cohort, yes, does stay together typically because students are, for the most part, selecting similar classes because of the requirements for the full diploma program. And as we develop the career-related program, we're going to see students develop those same cohorts. If it's an education pathway or if it's a digital arts pathway, we're going to see those students try to start to travel together. And certainly with our Mandarin Magnet, the languages, those cohorts stay together as well. So truth be told, I have a 10th grader who's had classes with the same group of kids for the last 3 semesters, working on 4, and he's developed some great relationships with his classmates. And so we think it's a great model. And again, going back to the differences between this and advanced placement, this allows for that consistency of experience.
I do want to add for students, if you are not accepted and or you decide that you do not want to attend River next year, but you may want to consider it when you become a sophomore, please take honors level courses at the school where you are attending. Those honors level 9th and 9th grade courses will help develop the skills. So when you come back to River for the IB program, you will be able to step right into our honors level courses and pick right up with our students.
Okay, question here. How would you describe your typical IB student?
Typical IB student, and others will have to help me out here. I would say one that loves to learn, that likes to have discussions in class, and not necessarily, well, we want them motivated, but they don't have to be organized at this point in time. We will teach some organizational skills, but what we're looking for is a student, or what we want is a student who just wants to learn. And if they want a challenge in their coursework, that maybe they've been skating through all of their education, classes that they've had in the past have not been too difficult, and they're just kind of bored and they want that challenge. That's the kind of student that we want. We want the student that wants that challenge. And any student could be that student.
Right, we're looking for, or what I noticed, that students that thrive in our program hold a growth mindset, which means that they are challenging themselves, are willing to take risks intellectually, safe risks intellectually. They are dedicated to what they're doing. And so they're purposeful with their decisions that they make about applying for this program. They're purposeful about how they go about taking care of business at school. And I would say the last component that stands out before I hand it to Mr. Duncan, because I want to hear his response to this, as well as Morgan Parker's. But the last thing I would say is that students that are involved. Each of our students, because we're a smaller school, students are participating in multiple activities and multiple athletic teams, and they're participating in and outside of school and service projects. And that's what I think speaks most to the character of our students, is that they are highly involved and care deeply about their place in the community here.
I have just one, so I'll go fast to add. I mean, all of those things you said, but one that seems really important to me is that incoming students are like big thinkers. Like, you're willing to think outside of the box and not just think about school, but think about how school connects to what happens outside of school, and kind of like, what do you want your impact to be, you know, in the spaces that you take up. So what's your impact at school? How do you interact with your peers? What kind of, you know, like what kind of relationships do you build with the people in school, and how do you take those relationships and those skills that you're learning in school and then like give back to the community when you leave the doors each day? So I guess that was like 3 things, but yeah, those are mine.
And Mr. Odopal, you kind of wanted me to chime in there about the typical IB student, and I would certainly mirror the things that have been said. I think that a student who is interested in their education and is interested in growing as a learner, that always is one of the typical characteristics. Now, sometimes they may not realize that at first, and sometimes they may be challenged in a certain course, and then that's the thing that it becomes their love and their passion. You know, we certainly have some IB students who start out with an interest in mathematics and may end up, as they're leaving, you know, really all about philosophy or global politics or things that they've learned. So I think it truly is, however, students who have that, as you said, growth mindset and that love of learning, whether that's in one subject or a lot, that really see success. I'm going to remind everybody that we have a lot of answers to these questions. Particularly, I have a couple of questions that have come in about the application process. I would encourage you to look at our YouTube playlist, especially the introductory video where we recorded in detail about the application process. We won't go over that process in our Q&A too much tonight, but that information is definitely in detail there in our introductory video.